Short Sunday, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. And I figured this short Sunday I'd talk about, since I am a mother, I have 5 children, talk a little bit about some of the places being a mom can take you. We homeschooled our kids primarily, not exclusively, but for the most part we homeschooled. And one of the places that took us was into the world of 4-H. Now, if you don't know what 4-H is, 4-H is, it's a club for children. There's all different kinds of 4-H's. There's a small engine 4-H's. There's a chick hatching project 4-H's. There's seeing eye dog project 4-H's. There's all different types of 4-H clubs. But the one we joined was agriculture, livestock, which was what the original 4-H clubs were about. Farm kids would raise an animal to show at a fair, and that would be their 4-H project. The club we joined was for kids that did not live on a farm. There was a central farm that the animals were kept at. The kids came in and worked with them. They raised them, they showed them at the fair, and eventually the animals were sold. And when my now 32-year-old son, or he'll be 32 this summer, when he was 10, we joined this club. And we continued with it until my youngest son, who just turned 19, until he was 18 and aged out of the club. And we have my 5 kids, they have shown sheep primarily. They have shown hogs, aka pigs. They have shown both dairy and beef cattle. And it has been quite a ride. One thing I'm going to touch on, where this took me. After we've been in the club for a long time, it was 2010. My Mary, who frequently does videos with me, she's 23 years old. She looks like she's about 15, but she's 23. When she was 15, we got a call from the farmer down at the farm. There was a ewe, which is an adult female sheep, that had collapsed. He thought the lambs she was carrying were stillborn, but she delivered them. They were both alive. Now, his daughter had just had a baby. He needed someone to come get these lambs, bottle feed them. And we went down there. Now, lambs usually do not survive if they don't get colostrum, that first milk from the mother. And that ewe, she was still alive, but she wasn't going to be for long. And despite the farmer's best efforts, she did not last very long. There was no way to get milk out of her. But we picked up these twin lambs, and Mary named them River and Simon Lamb. For those of you who are science fiction fans, you may get the reference from the TV show Firefly or the movie Serenity with the same characters. River and Simon Tam were characters from that show. So she had River and Simon Lamb. We brought them home. We got, from the Agway, we got lamb milk formula, mixed up baby bottles according to the instructions, and Mom, despite the fact that my kids had been showing sheep for a long time, I really hadn't learned all that much. I'd learned some. I knew how to use a pitchfork and how to clean a stall and some basic things about the animals. But boy, did I get a crash course in raising sheep that summer. Simon unfortunately died that night, as most lambs will do if they don't have the mother's milk. He was alert when we brought him home, as was River, but he declined very quickly. Now, River had never read any of the literature about how she was supposed to die from not having her mother's milk, and although she got very ill, it was Good Friday when we got them. On Easter Sunday, early in the morning, the wee hours, she was not doing too well. But she didn't know that. And it's amazing what you can do when you don't know you're not supposed to be able to do it. She survived. And River spent 2 months in my house. Now, in the description bar below, I will have a link to a blog I wrote at the time. I was writing for a science fiction board, primarily Doctor Who fans. So there are a few references from Doctor Who in that post. You don't need to know the show to understand the post. Mostly it's about River and how she lived in my house. And there's photos of her sleeping on my couch and Mary leading her on a halter and all sorts of things. But this little lamb, she's a big ewe now. She's, 7 years old now. She's had many lambs of her own. My daughter Mary, after she showed her and after River had lambed at the club's farm once, Mary bought her from the club. A friend of ours has a farm with sheep, not about an hour from our house, and that's where River lives now. So she's still doing well. The reason I bring this up on Mother's Day, well, it was Mary's first venture into being a mother. She got up round the clock, 1 o'clock feeding on the bottle. She did it for River. And River still treats her like a daughter treats her mother, in both good and bad ways. Mary said to me one day, "Is this what it's like to have kids?" River was mad at her and she was ignoring her. She actually turned her back on her and was looking the other way. And I said, yeah, Yeah, it is. So there's joys and heartbreaks and all sorts of things that happen. But Mary got her lesson in that and still has it.